You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
Our caller says that there's a gash on the patient's neck. It looks like someone slashed her neck.
This harrowing 911 call went through around 3 in the afternoon Thursday. Broward deputies later finding a young woman dead. Family says she was just 23 years old.
When I came back the second time I went around the loop, I looked through the gate, I seen her car parked on the outside of the apartment complex. So I drove my car around and I looked at her license plate because when she comes to my house, I have to register her car. So I looked at the license, I'm like, that's her car. So now I pull up, now I'm banging on the door because I'm like, your car is here. I'm banging on the door. And then I just checked the door. When I checked the door, it opened. And she was right there.
How do you know her?
Cousin.
Your cousin? Sure.
I have to see her. Where's her body?
I do believe the defendant needs to go to prison. I do believe the defendant's, in this particular situation's crime was heinous in the way she tracked down, located, showed up, and then killed Ms. Thompson with that. The court does sentence Ms. Thompson to adjudicate her guilty sentence to life in prison. Under Florida's criminal punishment code, that's without parole.
3 days ago, a judge sentenced 31-year-old Sakiyna Thompson to life in prison without parole. And if you've been following this case since 2022, you already know this woman's story is wild. But if you're just hearing about it now because it's been all over your feed this week, buckle up, because I'm about to tell you about the day Amazon's 2-day shipping became an accessory to murder. I'm serious. Back in the summer of 2022, a woman ordered a GPS tracker online, got it delivered to her doorstep, and used it to track down her ex-boyfriend to his new girlfriend's doorstep. And when I say track down, I mean she flew from New York to Florida, showed up at this girl's apartment at the crack of dawn, and took her life. Now, before you say, well, she must have been crazy, let me stop you right there. Because Sakiyna Thompson wasn't some unhinged stranger. Well, at least she wasn't before the murder. But the brutal nature of what she did might just show that she is. But anyways, she was a successful nail technician with her own clientele. She had a whole life, but somewhere between doing acrylics and scrolling Instagram, she decided that her ex moving on was a crime punishable by death. And here's the kicker, she was pregnant with his baby while committing murder over him. And you know what he did after all this? Got engaged to another woman. So today we're talking about 23-year-old Kayla Hodgson, a bottle waitress and flight attendant who never saw it coming. And for those of you who've been waiting years for this sentencing, and for those of you who are just now falling down this rabbit hole, trust me, this story is gonna have you heated. Because there are 3 people in this story. One is dead, one just got life without parole, and one walked away free. Let's get into it. Kayla Hodgson was 23 years old in the summer of 2022. And by all accounts, she was exactly the kind of person you'd want in your corner. I'm talking about the friend who hyped you up before a night out. The coworker who covered your shift without making you feel guilty about it. The girl who walked into a room and immediately made it better just by being there. Everyone who knew Kayla said the same thing. She was the life of the party. Not in an obnoxious way, just genuinely fun to be around. She was working 2 jobs at the time, During the day, she was a flight attendant, traveling all over the place, bringing people their ginger ale and dealing with passengers who recline their seats all the way back like sociopaths. And at night, she was a bottle waitress at private events and parties. You know, the girl who shows up with sparklers and champagne bottles, making everyone feel like a VIP. And people loved getting service from Kayla because she wasn't just going through the motions. She actually made the experience fun.
Y'all, the best thing I ever did was have 2 phones, because if you know me, you know my phone is always dead. Like, it's crazy. So this is like literally the best thing, yo.
I got 2 phones and she the only one with dead phones right now.
That was Kayla. Just being herself, talking about having 2 dead phones at once because she was always on the go. Relatable, right? And she had plans, you guys. She wasn't just working these jobs to pay bills and call it a day. Kayla had been saving money for over 2 years because she wanted to open her own cocktail lounge. She had a vision. She had goals. She was building something. Now, Kayla lived in Tamarack, Florida, a quiet little city, about 30 minutes outside Fort Lauderdale. Nothing crazy ever happens there. It's the kind of place where people know their neighbors, where you can walk your dog at night without looking over your shoulder every 5 seconds. Kayla had just moved into a new apartment in the area, living with her mom, who was also a flight attendant. So sometimes the apartment was just Kayla and her little dog, chilling, living life. And speaking of her life, Kayla was seeing this guy named Rivaldo. Now, when I say seeing, I need you to understand. They weren't boyfriend and girlfriend. They were in that situationship phase that lasts way too long. Because nobody wants to have the "what are we" conversation. You know the vibe. They'd been messing around for over a year, hanging out, spending time together, but it was casual. At least, that's how it seemed.
Okay, so how do you know her?
That's like my girlfriend. We've been messing around for like over a year now.
Okay.
So yeah, they were in that ambiguous zone. But here's what matters. On July 12th, 2022, Kayla had a completely normal day. Rivaldo came by her apartment around 7 p.m. to pick up some money she was holding for him. They talked for a bit. Everything was fine. And then Kayla went to work, like she did every Tuesday night. She was bartending at a party spot called Jamaican Party, and she'd usually get off around 4 a.m. Late nights, good tips, living her life. That night, July the 12th, turning into the early morning hours of July the 13th, Kayla finished her shift, drove home, and went to bed. Just another Tuesday. Except it wasn't. Because while Kayla was sleeping in her apartment, completely unaware, someone was already on their way to her door. Now let me introduce you to the man at the center of all this chaos, Terry. And before we even get to Sakiyna, we need to talk about Terry, because none of this happens without him. Terry was out here living a double life, and I'm not even exaggerating. This man had a whole girlfriend in New York, Sakiyna Thompson. And he was also flying down to Florida every few weeks to spend time with Kayla. Sir, the frequent flyer, miles alone. The audacity, the sheer confidence it takes to think you can pull this off without it exploding in your face. And here's the thing about Terry. He wasn't even trying that hard to hide it. He'd tell Sakiyna he had business meetings in Florida. Real estate stuff, very important. Got to fly down for a few days. And Sakiyna, at least at first, believed him. Because why wouldn't she? They'd been together. They had a relationship. She trusted him. Or at least she tried to. But let me tell you about Sakiyna, 28 years old, originally from Jamaica, living in New York City, working as a nail technician. and she was good at what she did. She had her own clientele, people who came to her specifically because her work was fire. She had a whole career going, but she also had a problem. And that problem was Terry, because Sakiyna wasn't just dating Terry. She was obsessed with Terry. And I don't mean that in a cute, oh, she really loves him way. I mean she was monitoring his every move, checking his phone, questioning him constantly, posting videos on TikTok about how she'd throw hands over her man.
You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right? You know that I throw hands, right?
And Terry saw all of this and thought, yeah, this is fine. This is a stable situation to be in, while I'm also seeing someone else in another state. Men, I swear. So how did Terry meet Kayla? Memorial Day weekend 2022. Miami, you know how that goes. Parties, clubs, everybody's out having a good time. Terry and Sakiyna flew down together for the weekend, and at some point Terry met Kayla. They exchanged numbers, started texting. And what began as casual conversation turned into something more. Terry started making those business trips to Florida more frequently, staying in hotels near Fort Lauderdale, spending time with Kayla. And the whole time, Sakiyna's back in New York thinking her man is handling real estate deals. But Sakiyna wasn't stupid. She started noticing things. Terry was distant. He was on his phone more. He was making excuses. And Sakiyna, instead of just leaving this man like a rational person would, decided to do some detective work. And by detective work, I mean she went full stalker mode. She started going through his phone when he was asleep. She was checking his location. She was searching for evidence that he was cheating. And eventually, she found Kayla's Instagram. Username, One Princess K. Beautiful girl, big smile, living her life, posting her photos. And Sakiyna lost it. Now, here's something we need to clarify, because calling Sakiyna Terry's ex-girlfriend isn't even accurate. She was 2 months pregnant with his baby when all this went down. Meaning Terry wasn't juggling an ex and a new girl. He was juggling his pregnant girlfriend and a side situation. And for all we know, Kayla might not have even been the only one. Because men like Terry, they don't usually stop at 2. At some point, Kayla must have realized this woman was lurking on her page, watching her every move, because she did what a lot of us would do. She blocked her. Just hit that block button. And look, I need to say something here. And I need you to hear me out. Nobody, and I mean nobody, deserves what happened to Kayla. She didn't do anything wrong. Blocking someone on Instagram is not a crime. It's not an invitation for violence. It's literally just setting a boundary. Kayla had every right to block Sakiyna, to not explain herself, to just live her life. That's not up for debate. But, and I'm saying this as someone who wants you to make it home safe every night. We live in a world where people get shot over road rage because someone tried to pass them on the freeway. Remember that case in Nevada last month, November 14th. An 11-year-old boy named Brandon was on his way to school with his stepdad when 2 drivers started jockeying for position on a congested freeway. One tried to pass on the shoulder. They rolled down their windows, started arguing, and the other driver fired 1 shot into the car, killing that child in the back seat. The shooter didn't even know there was a kid in the car. Over traffic. Over trying to get 1 car length ahead. My point is this. You never know what the next person is going through mentally. You don't know if the person you're dealing with is rational, or if they're one bad day away from making a decision that changes everything. And that's not fair. It's not right. We shouldn't have to move through the world calculating whether someone's gonna snap on us. But we do live in that world. So I'm not saying Kayla should have done anything differently. I'm saying that when you find yourself in a murky situation, when you know someone's unhinged, when you know someone's obsessed, a quick Google search will show you how these situations have ended for other people. And you have to ask yourself, is this worth my life? Is proving a point worth not making it home? Because clout fades, but you only get one life. And before anyone comes for me in the comments saying I'm victim blaming, I'm not. I'm saying the world is full of dangerous people, and your safety matters more than being right. That's not cowardice, that's survival. Now, did Kayla know Sakiyna was this unhinged? Probably not. Most people don't expect someone to fly across the country to kill them over a man. But Sakiyna, she'd been posting warnings on TikTok. She'd been showing the world exactly who she was. And somebody should have been paying attention. Anyway, back to June 30th, 2022. Because that's when Sakiyna went on Amazon and ordered a GPS tracker. With overnight delivery. Let that sink in. So Sakiyna gets this GPS tracker delivered to her door, and she doesn't waste any time. She takes it, walks over to wherever Terry has his car parked, and she sticks this thing underneath his vehicle. Just like that. No hesitation, no second thoughts. And now she's got him. Every time Terry drives anywhere, Sakiyna's watching that little dot on her phone, tracking his every move. And for weeks, she's monitoring him. She sees when he leaves for work. She sees when he comes home. She sees when he makes those business trips to Florida. And on July the 12th, 2022, the night before Kayla died, Sakiyna sees something that makes her blood boil. That GPS dot stops at an address in Tamarack, Florida. Kayla's address. And it stays there. For 3 hours. 3 hours, you guys. Terry was at Kayla's place for 3 whole hours. And Sakiyna's sitting in New York, staring at her phone, watching that dot just sit there, and she's losing her mind. Because she knows what's happening. She knows Terry's with another woman. She knows he lied to her. And instead of confronting him, instead of leaving him, instead of doing literally anything rational, Sakiyna makes a decision. She's going to Florida.
I still got one bitch, I'ma smack the wig off. And then I'ma change.
She wasn't playing. She literally told everyone what she was about to do. And nobody stopped her. So that same day, July 12th, Sakiyna books a flight. She's flying from New York to Fort Lauderdale. One way. Because she doesn't know when she's coming back. Or maybe she knows exactly what she's about to do, and she doesn't care. Now, here's where it gets even more calculated. Sakiyna doesn't just hop on a plane and wing it. No, ma'am. She plans this. She creates a fake Uber account under a different name so she can get a ride to Kayla's apartment without being traced. She packs a COVID mask and a hat to cover her face. She brings gloves. She's thinking about DNA. She's thinking about cameras. She's thinking about how to get away with this. And on the evening of July 12th, Sakiyna lands in Florida. She uses her fake Uber account to get a ride to the area. And she waits, because Kayla's still at work. Remember, Kayla bartends late nights at Jamaican party. So Sakiyna just waits until she knows Kayla will be home. Until she knows Kayla will be alone. Until she knows it's the perfect time to strike. It's the middle of the night. Kayla gets home from her shift around 4 a.m., exhausted, ready to sleep. She has no idea anyone's watching her. No idea someone flew across the country just to be at her door. And at 5 a.m. on July 13th, 2022, there's a knock. Kayla opens the door. Maybe she thought it was Rivaldo. Maybe she thought it was a neighbor. Maybe she didn't think at all. She just opened it. And standing there in a mask and a hat is Sakiyna Thompson. And before Kayla can even process what's happening, Sakiyna attacks. The details of what happened in that apartment are brutal. And I'm not going to go into graphic detail because that's not what we do here. And honestly, Kayla deserves better than to have her final moments sensationalized. But what we know from the police reports and the trial testimony is this. Sakiyna stabbed Kayla dozens of times. Dozens! This wasn't a single moment of rage. This wasn't a heat of the moment situation. This was sustained, deliberate violence. Kayla fought back. Of course she did. She was fighting for her life. The medical examiner found defensive wounds on her hands and arms, meaning she tried to protect herself. But Sakiyna was relentless. And when it was over, Kayla was dead on the floor of her own apartment. And Sakiyna was standing there, covered in blood. Now, here's what makes this even more disturbing. After Sakiyna killed Kayla, she didn't run. She didn't panic. She didn't call the police and turn herself in. No. Sakiyna cleaned up. She took off her bloody clothes and put on Kayla's clothes. She went through Kayla's closet, found something that fit, and changed. Like she was getting ready to go out. Like she hadn't just taken someone's life. During the trial, Sakiyna testified about what happened next. And her own words are chilling. She said, "I was walking in the blood. Walking in the blood." She grabbed Lysol wipes, and started trying to clean the scene. She wiped down surfaces. She tried to cover her tracks. She knew exactly what she'd done, and she was trying to get away with it. And then Sakiyna left. She walked out of that apartment, left Kayla's body on the floor, and got a ride back to the airport. She boarded a flight back to New York. And here's the part that's going to make you scream. Terry was on that flight with her. Terry, the man she just committed murder over. They flew back to New York together. Same plane, same day. Which means Terry had to know something was up. He had to know where Sakiyna had been. He had to know she flew to Florida. And he said nothing. He did nothing. He just got on that plane with her and flew home like it was a normal Tuesday. Meanwhile, back in Tamarack, Kayla's body was still on the floor of her apartment. Alone. And nobody knew yet. Her mum was away working a flight. Rivaldo hadn't stopped by yet. Kayla's dog was probably scared, confused, not understanding why his owner wasn't moving. It would be hours before anyone discovered what happened. Hours before anyone realized that a 23-year-old girl with her whole life ahead of her was gone. And the woman who killed her? She was 30,000 feet in the air, sitting next to the man who caused all of this, heading back to New York like nothing happened. But it was about to catch up to her, because Sakiyna made mistakes. And those mistakes were about to lead the police right to her door. Around 2 p.m. on July 13th, about 9 hours after Kayla was murdered, Rivaldo showed up at her apartment. He'd been trying to reach her all morning. Calls, texts, nothing. So he drove over. And when he knocked and got no answer, he tried the door. It was unlocked. And what he found inside changed everything.
Alright, we're in that building. Yeah, I know, I'm doing due diligence, bro. I'm here. I don't know, bro. It looked like, I don't know, bro. I can't see it. I walked in and she just on the floor and I pumped her chest. I seen like blood coming from her neck, like she got a cut on her neck. Bro, I don't know, bro. Ask D, what did he see at the club last night? Because you was with her, so she went to work. Yeah, I didn't talk to her, that's early. Yeah. Because she in her night robe, so you feel me? She was home chilling. Yeah. I just probably call her all early this morning, you feel me? Oh, I don't have a mother number. I don't have a mother number. Yeah.
Does her mom live with?
Huh?
Does her mom live local?
Her mother lives with her along as a flight attendant. So she may be on a trip right now.
She may be out.
Yeah.
What airline?
Spirit.
He tried CPR. He called 911. But Kayla was already gone. She'd been dead for hours. And when the police arrived, they found a scene that told them this wasn't random. The bloody footprints leading away from the body. The evidence of a struggle. The brutality of it all. This was personal.
How do you know her? Your cousin? Sure.
I have to see her. Where's her body?
Mom, do you want to sit down? You guys can hang out here if you want.
Can we go there? It's just more privacy.
I understand, ma'am. They're going to be bringing the body down pretty soon. Okay?
What? But when they bring the body down, we're able to...
I can't answer those questions. I have no idea.
We spoke with her. They
Okay.
said we're at least able to pray over her.
Okay. Well, I'll let body removal. They'll know for that. But I'd appreciate if you guys just hang out over here till we figure that out. All right? I'm trying to have the detectives come over here and talk to you guys and just give you the gist of everything.
Yeah, because her mom just got here, so...
I understand. She got off the flight, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Just please be with her.
Yeah.
I know she's upset.
Please, you guys promised me.
Just wait.
But why are they loading her?
Just wait a second. Where's Mom? Where's Mom?
She's right here.
Hey.
Listen, please.
Get
She's
it.
right there. You guys don't get it. You guys don't get it. Please.
Let me talk to Mom.
She's
Let me
right
talk to
there.
her mom.
Wait, hold on. Mommy come.
Are you Mom? Who's Mom?
Hold on, Mommy's coming.
Mom is coming.
Okay.
Listen, I asked earlier, whoever it was earlier, before you guys take her and put her in, can we please pray over her? Nobody's gonna touch her.
We can't have a lot of people over there.
Okay, that's
so
fine.
let's have. Where's Mom?
She's coming. She just got here.
Just wait for Mom.
Kayla's family was devastated. Her mum flew back immediately. They all showed up at the scene, desperate to see her, to understand what happened. And the police knew they had to move fast to catch whoever did this. Here's where Sakiyna's mistakes caught up to her. Remember that cleanup she did with Lysol wipes? Didn't work. Police found DNA under Kayla's fingernails. Kayla fought back and scratched her attacker. They ran that DNA through the system, and it came back to Sakiyna Thompson, a nail technician from New York, which made perfect sense once they realized the DNA came from someone who works with their hands professionally. They also tracked the fake Uber account back to her. They pulled flight records showing she flew to Florida on July 12th and back to New York on July 13th. And when they checked Terry's phone records and that GPS tracker data, it all pointed straight to Sakiyna. She'd been stalking Terry for weeks, watched him go to Kayla's apartment, and made her move. On August 3rd, 2022, police showed up at Sakiyna's door in Queens, New York, and she was arrested for first-degree murder.
New details tonight on an arrest in New York City. This after a young woman was killed last month inside her apartment in Tamarack. The Broward Sheriff's Office announced that the suspect, Sakiyna Thompson, is now in custody. CBS 4's Peter O'Dinch joins us live from the Tamarack Village complex with the very latest on this story. Peter.
Well, Naja, BSO says that the suspect was arrested in a neighborhood in Queens. That was 3 weeks after the homicide here.
Now, you'd think with all that evidence, the DNA, the flight records, the GPS tracker, the fake Uber account, the witnesses who saw her at the scene, you'd think Sakiyna would take a plea deal. But no. She went to trial. And her defense? Self-defense. Mom. Sakiyna got on that witness stand in October 2025, over 3 years after the murder, and claimed that when she showed up at Kayla's door, Kayla attacked her. She said Kayla came at her with a piece of a hookah glass and she blacked out defending herself. She said she was protecting her unborn baby. The baby she was 2 months pregnant with, while murdering another woman over the baby's father. The jury didn't buy it. Not for 1 second. How could they? You flew across the country. You wore a disguise. You used a fake Uber. You showed up at 5 a.m. You stabbed her dozens of times. You cleaned up and changed into her clothes. And you flew home with the man you were supposedly protecting your baby from. Make it make sense. The jury deliberated for 1 hour, 60 minutes, less time than it takes to watch a movie. And they came back with a verdict. Guilty of first-degree murder.
I do believe the defendant needs to go to prison. I do believe the defendant's, in this particular situation's crime was heinous in the way she tracked down, located, showed up, and then killed Ms. Thompson. With that, the court does sentence Ms. Thompson to a adjudicated guilty sentence to life in prison. Under Florida's criminal punishment code, that's without parole.
And then on Monday, December 2nd, just 3 days ago, Sakiyna Thompson stood before a judge for sentencing. Kayla's family was there. They gave victim impact statements. They talked about the hole Kayla's death left in their lives. The dreams she'll never achieve. The cocktail lounge she'll never open. The life she deserved to live. And the judge sentenced Sakiyna Thompson to life in prison without the possibility of parole. She will die behind bars. The baby she had in prison, placed with Terry's parents. Not with Terry, his parents, because even they couldn't trust him to raise that child. So let's recap. Sakiyna Thompson murdered an innocent woman over a man who was playing them both. She's now serving life in prison. Her child is being raised by someone else. Kayla Hodgson is dead at 23 years old. Her family is destroyed. Her dreams are gone. Her future was stolen. And Terry? Terry's out here engaged. To another woman. Not in prison. Not charged with anything. Free as a bird. Living his life while 2 women's lives were destroyed over him. Now, I want to be clear about something. Sakiyna Thompson is 100% responsible for what she did. She made the choice to get on that plane. She made the choice to go to Kayla's door. She made the choice to take a life. That blood is on her hands, and she's exactly where she belongs. But we can't ignore the man who set this whole thing in motion. The man who lied to both women. The man who flew back to New York with his girlfriend after she committed murder. The man who created this powder keg and then walked away when it exploded. So here's my question for you, and I want you to sound off in the comments. How much accountability does Terry deserve? Because the justice system said none. He's free. He's engaged. He moved on. But did he really have no role in what happened? Let me know what you think. Rest in peace, Kayla Hodgson. You deserve so much better than this. And to everyone watching, please, please value your life more than you value proving a point. The world is full of dangerous people. Don't find out the hard way. I'll see you in the next one.